Have you ever wondered if that harmless-looking cup of coffee you brew every morning is really just coffee? The answer might send a chill down your spine. Right there on Walmart shelves, the ground coffee millions of Americans trust comes with warnings about chemicals linked to cancer. Those tiny lines of text on the packaging that almost nobody notices are actually a reminder you are putting something into your body that could damage your health in the long run. What makes it worse is that brands will never openly admit these risks. Instead, they expect consumers to figure out for themselves what they are swallowing. From decaf to so-called premium roasts, from organic to Fairtrade, all of them can still carry acrylamide or arsenic compounds that the medical community has tied to cancer and chronic illnesses. In this video, we are going to uncover 5 popular ground coffee brands sold at Walmart that you should stop buying immediately if you do not want to gamble with the health of yourself and your family. Number 1. Chock Full of Nuts Original Decaf Ground Coffee. Have you noticed that so many of us choose decaf coffee because we think it is the safest option? Not everyone wants to load up on caffeine, especially once you hit your 50s, when heart health, blood pressure, and sleep become constant concerns. Decaf has long been marketed as the solution to drink coffee without hurting your heart. But have you ever actually looked closely at the back of the package? There's a detail there that most consumers overlook, and it is exactly what has the entire community worried. Chock Full of Nuts is a household name from New York to California, and you will find it in nearly every Walmart. For decades, American families have stuck with this brand, treating it as a lighter alternative to Folgers or Maxwell House. Yet what shocks people is that this decaf comes with a Prop 65 warning, meaning it may contain arsenic, a substance scientists have repeatedly linked to skin cancer, lung cancer, and other chronic illnesses. Now think about it, why would a product marketed as good for your health carry such a warning? We buy decaf because we believe it is gentler to protect the heart, to avoid palpitations and sleepless nights. But instead, what consumers may be getting is a toxic compound slowly seeping into their bodies, cup after cup, day after day. What makes people even angrier is the silence. The packaging shows off the big logo, highlights the flavor and tradition, but the warning is printed in tiny text, almost hidden away. If you do not read carefully, you would never know you're taking home a product tied to a cancer warning in the state of California. And as you know, Prop 65 is not a joke. It is a warning system built over decades, forcing companies to admit their products contain chemicals that can cause harm. In other words, even the manufacturer cannot deny the risk. So, what does this mean for consumers over 50, the group that makes up the largest share of decaf drinkers? It means millions of Americans have been paying for a false sense of security. They believe they are protecting their health, but in reality, they are exposing themselves to toxins most people never expected to find in coffee. This is where the disappointment cuts deep, when something thought to be the safe choice turns out to be a dangerous gamble. Picture this: one morning you brew a cup of decaf to start your day. You take a sip thinking you have done the right thing for your body, but somewhere on that package there is a warning label you never noticed. And then, once you learn the truth, you cannot help but ask yourself, what exactly have I been drinking all these years? Could this be the reason my health has been declining without a clear explanation? Plenty of people have already started roasting their own beans at home or switching to organic brands that are truly transparent. They want to break free from companies that keep exploiting consumer trust. This is not about being overly cautious. It is about the fact that once trust is gone, it is incredibly hard to rebuild. And Chock Full of Nuts Decaf is slowly losing that trust one package at a time. The question is no longer does it taste good, but rather, is it worth bringing home at all? A product linked to a cancer warning sold everywhere in America's biggest retailer. Does it really deserve a place in your kitchen cabinet? This is not about flavor anymore. It is about health and trust. Number 2. Bers Coffee. If you are still drinking Bers every morning, the first piece of advice is this: take a closer look at what is actually in your cup. Do not just rely on the traditional or classic flavor branding that this company has pushed for decades. Because scientific evidence has shown that Bers belongs to the group of products with high levels of acrylamide, a compound formed during the roasting process and linked by numerous medical studies to cancer risk. Do you see the irony? We drink coffee to wake up to get more energy, yet what we are actually putting into our bodies is a chemical that the World Health Organization has been warning about for years. Acrylamide is not some mysterious substance. It shows up in potato chips cookies and is especially concentrated in roasted coffee. The real issue is the amount. And Hills Brothers has repeatedly landed in the category flagged by independent tests for alarmingly high levels. Here's a little-known fact. Acrylamide is classified as a chemical that causes cancer in animals, which is why states like California require it to be listed under Prop 65. In other words, if a product contains acrylamide above the threshold, the manufacturer is obligated to warn consumers. But try looking for that warning on Hills Brothers packaging. How many people ever see it clearly printed? Most shoppers still buy it because it is cheap, because it is a long-standing brand, because it feels familiar from their parents' or grandparents' kitchens. But familiarity is no substitute for safety. This raises a serious question. How many years have you been drinking Hills Brothers 1 cup, 2 cups every morning for a decade or more? Each cup carrying a dose of acrylamide building up in your body over time. Who can guarantee that after 10 or 20 years, the impact will not show itself in your health? This is not fear-mongering. It is a reality that has been confirmed by labs and health agencies. Picture this. You walk into Walmart, spot a big can of Hills Brothers, affordable and generously sized. You think you are being smart, saving money by choosing a time-tested brand. But in truth, what you are paying for is a side of unwanted chemicals with every spoonful of coffee grounds. That is no longer about enjoyment. That is about trading away your health. Some people have already realized this and started changing their habits. Instead of buying old brands with high risks, they go for whole beans and grind them at home, reducing the chance of acrylamide buildup found in pre-ground coffee. Others switch to certified organic brands, since those tend to keep tighter control over the roasting process. And quite a few people simply cut back on consumption, drinking less, but choosing higher quality options. The sad truth is that most consumers do not know or do not care yet. They still trust the classic flavor message Hills Brothers sells. But if you look at medical reports, the truth is plain: acrylamide does not disappear just because a brand has been around for a long time. The story of Hills Brothers reminds us of something important: tradition does not equal safety. A product that fills supermarket shelves and is chosen by millions of people every day is not automatically harmless. And whether you keep buying or finally stop is no longer just about preference, it is about health, even about survival. So, before you brew another cup of Hills Brothers, ask yourself, am I drinking coffee, or am I drinking a chemical that scientists have warned us about again and again? And more importantly, is it really worth keeping in your kitchen? Number 3, Melitta Traditional Premium Roast. When you hear the word premium, what comes to mind? Most people immediately think of higher quality, stricter standards, maybe even the peace of mind that comes with paying a little extra for something better. Melitta knows this, which is why they slap the label Traditional Premium Roast right on the package. But the question is, does premium really mean safe? When consumers spend money on a bag of Melitta, they believe they are choosing a product that stands above the cheaper coffees. The reality, however, is disappointing. Test results have shown that Melitta's so-called premium line actually falls into the category with concerning levels of acrylamide. And do you know what that means? It means the difference between premium and budget sometimes comes down to nothing more than the packaging, while the risks stay the same. Think about how many people pick Melitta because they believe at least this is higher quality coffee. How many families trust that buying a premium roast protects them from health dangers? Yet acrylamide does not care whether a brand is cheap or upscale. It forms during the roasting process, and without careful control, its levels can easily exceed safe limits. That is exactly why so many nutrition experts warn consumers to stay alert. What stings most is not just the issue of product quality, but the betrayal of trust. Buyers paid extra expecting more safety, only to get a product no better than the bargain options sitting on Walmart's shelves. When premium turns out to be nothing more than a marketing trick, consumers are essentially paying for an illusion. You have probably seen Melitta's packaging's sleek colors, sharp lettering projecting an image of premium status. But behind that polished exterior, the Prop 65 warnings are still there. And this leaves many people asking, if even the products marketed as high-end carry cancer risks, then is there any brand we can truly rely on? The truth is, this is not about flavor. Many people praise Melitta for its aroma, its bold taste, how easy it is to drink. But flavor cannot erase the fact that acrylamide is a compound flagged worldwide as dangerous. Consumers need to ask themselves, am I trading my health for a nice taste? In fact, plenty of people have decided to stop buying Melitta altogether. Not because they hate the brand, but because they refuse to pay for what feels like a fake sense of premium quality. Some roast their own beans at home, some turn to smaller, more transparent brands, and others simply cut back on their daily coffee intake. This is not being extreme. It is a way to protect themselves in a market that grows less and less trustworthy. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, does premium really protect you? Or is it just a marketing buzzword printed in bold to make you spend a few extra dollars? If even products advertised as upscale still come with health risks, maybe it is time to reconsider where you are placing your trust. Number 4. Bers Coffee Organic Breakfast Blend. Have you ever walked into your kitchen in the morning, opened the cupboard and felt reassured when you picked up a bag of coffee with the word organic printed boldly across the front? Most of us assume that once something carries the organic label, it means protection from chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and other harmful substances. For many people, over 50 organic almost feels like the safest possible choice for their health. But Bers Coffee Organic Breakfast Blend is leaving a lot of people angry because that label is not shielding you the way you thought. The truth is right there on the packaging, this product still carries a Prop 65 warning for acrylamide, which means even when you pay extra for organic, you are still at risk of consuming a compound that multiple medical studies have linked to cancer. How is that not a slap in the face to consumers? Organic is supposed to stand for transparency and safety, but when there is a warning label involved, that sense of peace of mind disappears instantly. Put yourself in this situation. Someone gives up buying cheap coffee, switching entirely to organic to better care for their health. Every morning they brew a cup of Bers, believing they are starting the day with the right choice. But the reality, they are still drinking a chemical serious enough that the government requires a warning label. And when they finally learn this, the first reaction is not disappointment, but anger. Anger at being misled, anger at believing in a hollow promise. What makes it even more ironic is how Bers markets this product as part of a breakfast blend, tying it to a wholesome morning routine, a fresh and healthy start to the day. But once you realize that same morning ritual may come with acrylamide, every marketing message suddenly rings empty. Organic no longer feels like a shield. It becomes nothing more than a glossy sticker hiding an ugly truth. Consumers over 50, the most loyal group to organic coffee, are the ones who feel the most betrayed. They did not choose Bers because it was cheap. They chose it out of trust in its health benefits. And when that trust is shattered, anger is the only natural response. Many people have said they are not just walking away from Bers, but also looking at the entire organic label with suspicion. Once trust is gone, it is nearly impossible to win back. And that is the bigger consequence. It is not just one brand losing customers, but the credibility of the entire organic certification system being dragged into doubt. Consumers start asking if organic still comes with a cancer warning, then what can I believe in anymore? That question is not just aimed at Bers. It points to the entire coffee industry. It shakes the very foundation of trust that millions of consumers have built over years. And this is when anger boils over, because when health is being gambled with, silence is never an option. So, before you brew another cup of Bers Organic Breakfast Blend, pause and ask yourself, are you buying an organic product, or are you just buying a false sense of safety? Number 5. Trader Joe's Fairtrade Organic 5-Country Blend. Have you ever believed that as long as a package says Fairtrade and organic, you can trust it completely? Many Americans, especially older shoppers, have gotten used to choosing these labels as a way to make sure their coffee is not only good for their health, but also good for farmers and the planet. But Trader Joe's Fairtrade Organic 5 Country Blend raises a troubling question. If even coffee dressed up with these trusted labels still comes with a cancer warning, then what can we really believe in? On the package, you will see the two most appealing words: fair trade, meaning fairness and transparency in the supply chain, and organic, meaning no harmful chemicals. These values are what give people peace of mind and make them willing to pay more. But if you look closer, this very product carries a Prop 65 warning about arsenic, a heavy metal tied to several cancers and chronic diseases. And that makes all the promises of kindness and safety suddenly feel empty. Do you see the irony? We pay extra for something labeled fair trade and organic, yet end up facing the same risks as with the cheaper coffees flagged earlier. The only difference lies in the marketing language, while the danger stays the same. What makes this harder to accept is the fact that Trader Joe's has long been seen as a friendly brand, caring and trustworthy. But when the truth comes out, even that image starts to crumble. For many people over 50, this is more than just a health warning. It cuts deep into their sense of trust. This generation often chooses organic and fair trade not only to protect their bodies, but also to support moral values. Finding out that these very products can still contain arsenic leaves them not just worried about their health, but also feeling betrayed on a deeper level. Picture this. You walk into Walmart or Trader Joe's. Pick up a bag of 5 Country Blend, believing you are doing the right thing for yourself, for farmers, for the planet. You brew a cup, take a sip, and feel satisfied. But if you knew that same cup could contain arsenic, would that satisfaction remain? Or would it be replaced by a bigger doubt? If even this is not safe, then what can I trust at all? That doubt is the most frightening part. Because once trust in fair trade and organic is broken, the entire system of so-called safe products starts to collapse with it. Consumers begin to view everything with suspicion, no longer willing to accept any brand's promises at face value. And Trader Joe's 5 Country Blend has played a role in sparking that suspicion. In the end, the question is not whether this coffee tastes good. The real question is, are you willing to keep trusting a bag covered in nice labels when it still comes with a toxic warning? If fair trade and organic no longer guarantee safety, then what can we rely on to protect our health? Looking back at the 5 ground coffee brands sitting on Walmart's shelves, the picture is anything but comforting. From long-standing names like Chock Full Nuts and Hillsboro's, to so-called premium products like Melitta, and even the ones wrapped in organic and fair trade claims like Boyer's and Trader Joe's, all of them come with warnings or questions about harmful compounds. This not only shakes consumer trust, but forces families to ask, is there any coffee left that is truly safe to bring home?
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.